And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to APAC North. It is our final matchup. Thanks so much, by the way, for holding on. We had a couple of minutes where there was something to be fixed, and we are back on the show. Hello, I'm
Be honest, Milosh, we had to shine Ace's head. It just took a little bit longer.
I'll tell you what, it takes some time.
It really did. And what I want to do is just like the bowling ball. I just wanted to get like the last little bit of shine, so production held off.
Spit shine it.
Oh, that's disgusting. Hello, this is why we have the...
That escalated, didn't it?
That really
well,
did.
It's on his head.
You got the little... I feel like this is not the right word, but the little tuft at the front there.
It's a widow speak.
Tuft.
It's like the Russian badger.
So we've got a game.
Yes, we do. So C9 versus FAV, our final matchup of this evening. How about we have a chat about these two? First of all, I think C9, because it's time for us to have a deeper conversation about what they have in store for us, which so far has been not much.
Oh, what a complete contrast to the Kings that they were in the first half of this year. I mean, rather the first stage. I just felt like we had, going into Sixth Invitational, a really good representation of a team in APAC North that could really shine on the international stage. And then they got bruised, belted, bashed around at Sixth Invitational, and they've carried back all those scars back into their usual dominant area of online play in their own region here of APAC North, even in their own sub-region, and they just look completely lost. Not the same team. I feel really bad for them because they are the pinnacle of APAC North play when they're on top of their game, and it just seems like they've lost all confidence. That little round performance you can see there is showing you exactly how abysmal. One round in those two play days, there is going to have to be a massive, massive change in this play day. I've predicted them because I think when you're at the lowest of lows, you can get the highest of highs really quickly, and it could be a really big comeback.
Can we just show the team roster for a moment? I think I found the culprit.
All right, I'm looking. What am I looking for?
Nova doesn't have the same half-split hair as the others do.
You know what? You're so right. What? You know what?
That explains everything.
You know, Charles changed his hairstyle.
Oh, it's pretty. It's just Nova. That's the.
Yeah.
I changed mine.
It's pretty sus.
CLOUD9.
Not gonna lie.
Take note. Send over. New hairdresser.
Fixed it. I'm going to be on the other side come next week, so don't you worry about it. I'm taking over in this one. Let's talk about their opponents, though. It's FAV Gaming, and our Japanese squad are not looking too bad, I got to say. 2 wins in the first 2 playdays, defeating Talon and Guts. They come here to face off what is usually the toughest opponent, but question marks.
Not too bad at all. I think better than probably most expected coming into this stage.
Better than what Des
Better than I would have expected. I'll be honest, I wouldn't have said that FAV would be sat top of the table. I'm going to throw a stat at you now, and this is even further from what I would have expected. Out of the top 10 rated players in APAC North at the minute, 3 of them come from FAV. There is only one other team that has got that presence in the top 10, and that's Cyclops. That's the level that these guys are playing to. You got number 2, you got Shin, you got Afro, all up there in the top 3, and the other 2, believe me, they are not far behind. K-Razor and Typon as well, doing a job for FAV right now. It's one of them. I look at it and I think this isn't what we saw out of them from stage 1. So we're coming towards a fork in the road for FAV in my mind right now. Is it that they've had a couple of good performances and it's going to tail off, or is it that they've put some real work in, shown some massive improvement, and it's going to continue?
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here and say they had 2 easy games.
Fair.
This is I feel like we're at that fork in the road. This is where we find out. They either come out and they continue doing it.
Against CLOUD9?
I think the real test is CAG for FAV next
year. You know
yes.
what? I want to see them against CAG. I agree.
But I predicted CLOUD9, so I think this is going to be a really tough game for them because CLOUD9 are going to be amazing today.
I did too. What do you mean?
I want 100%. I'm 3 for 3. Yeah, this one locks it down for me.
I didn't pick Talon, so I've got to make it up here.
All right, let's go for a head-to-head. You guys pick one player out of each one of these two teams, and who is it? It's Shaw and number 2. Not surprising at all, is it now, Jess?
No, not at all. And the reason, of course, you're going to bring up Charles is there's not been a lot of impact on the side of Cloud9 in almost any way, shape, or form. And if you're looking for some kind of impact, which is why the survival is at the very tippy bottom there, because there has not been many rounds to survive for Cloud9. The only player to be able to survive that singular round win also meant he had to clutch it in a 1vx situation, which means he's also the only player with a 1vx clutch in his name whatsoever. They're looking to change that today, and surely they do, because when you're going up against number 2, you have to do something different.
Absolutely. I mean, we're never here to single out individual players and sort of pile on or anything, but Shayo we picked because he was the best rated. He's the best rated for Cloud9 so far, is the reality. And he's had 9 kills versus number 2, who has had 23. And that is just a gulf of a difference that has to be addressed. Cloud9 need to come in and win gunfights. Shayo is the leading kills on Cloud9 with 9. It's just not enough across 2 matches. They need to find them kills. They need to go back to basics.
Go back to basics. I think that is a very good way to put it here, Tim. Let's see which map we'll be playing on in this. Will it be Chalet again? Please, dear God, no, don't.
Please don't.
I swear.
Oh, Consulate.
Okay, Consulate.
Okay, I
Right,
like
okay,
that. Here we go.
okay,
This
here
is
we
where they
go.
win. This is where they win.
This is what
it.
we want.
This is the map where they win. I know it. I feel
Envy
it.
Taylor's playground.
Oh.
Let's
My
go.
God, Envy Taylor on Ace sometimes makes me feel like I could jump back into competitive play. He makes it look so flawless.
It's Envy Taylor on Ace. What about Ace on Envy Taylor? I'm asking you what you think about Envy Taylor.
And I was dramatic pause. He's going to have a stormer. That's what's going to happen.
I thought we were going in a different direction, so I'm going to say...
Get your mind out of the gutter, woman.
Whoa, I would never do that. Everyone who knows, I would never hit the
Consulate defense here for Cloud9. What is the advantage that they could use here? It's all on them now.
Ooh, God. Cloud9 did really well in their regional league recently. Played SGA twice on Consulate, won both times. This has an excellent recent record on Consulate. It's not Chalet. It's not another map where they're going to have to overthink it. This one, they can play cool, calm, collected.
I'll tell you what, the excuses are over for Cloud9 now.
Yeah.
If they come out here and get rolled again by FAV, then the answer is that they're playing badly. Simple as that. It's not down to a map. It's not down to anything else. Consulate is a good map for Cloud9. End of story. FAV have got the momentum. Cloud9 have got the playground.
Thank you so much for breaking it down, both of you, Jess and Tim. There it is. We'll see if it all converts into that reality in-game. It's Cloud9 versus FAV. Again, all Korea versus Japan through this third Playday here of Stage 2 of APAC North. It's time for us to go. It's time for us to toss it to Consulate. And we have M and Hap. That M ruined the surprise, but it's M and Hap on the other side.
I did. I said I would be here after the break.
Oh, how surprising.
How surprising. Because
we don't swap at all after every game, right?
It's
No,
not like
totally.
we
You
do.
ruined.
And it's not like Desney said, oh, we can't do any more after last
We
year.
are not casting anymore.
We're not casting anymore.
Who would do it then?
I think it's because they're old.
All right, I'm going to write down my prediction for this game.
Yeah, you've wrote... Okay.
There we go.
You...
No, don't tell
I won't say, but I will... At the end, if that
Confirm if
does
I
come
changed
through,
it
I
or
will
not.
confirm if you've changed it or not. I will tell the people if you're lying or
Right.
not.
Yeah. So, as said, Consulate, supposed to be a good Cloud9 map. That also means there's 0 excuses now. If they do not win this, then there is some serious issues going on.
Woes. There's for sure some woes if they don't win this.
Yeah.
Some worries in the board. Because, I mean, to be honest, 1 round over 2 Playdays in this league.
I mean,
there's been performances outside of this league. That's something...
I was going to say Virtus.pro got 2 rounds in total, then they smacked their opponent on day 3, and we all predicted against them.
That's it. That's it. So, like, it's not that they have entirely fallen apart because they've had these moments, and they're having these performances outside. But to be 0-2, to be minus 13 over 2 Playdays.
Yeah, to have only 1 round with one person that survived.
And the thing is, to be fair, if you look across their KDs, it's not horrendous. It's not as bad as it could be.
Yeah, but that's because you only played 15 rounds.
Maybe, I mean, like they're able to get kills, and I guess it's puzzling and trying to piece together where things have gone wrong. Because when a team is riding so high and then they go so astronomically low, just in terms of that sort of shift, and to be fair, in the opposite as well, when a team is performing really badly and then suddenly they perform amazingly, sometimes there's so much that you're trying to analyze and piece together that the real root, the real reason, and the real sort of cause of these things are tougher to find.
Forgotten indeed.
Yeah. So here, this Playday 3, on their favorite map, they're statistically their best map, against a team that, you know, the previous 2 engagements, they've taken them on 7-2 in the first split on this map, and then 8-6 on Villa just before that in the previous year,
Previous season.
as long ago as that feels now.
Was that stage 2 or was it stage 1?
Stage 2. Well, they played them twice in stage 2 actually. They also played them on club as well, and they lost club. That was it. But Consulate 7-2. That was their last. If you want a metric of how well stage 1 C9 played, they won this map 7-2.
Yeah. So that is going to be the benchmark FAV wants to beat first. They want to get more than those 2 rounds in, because that would mean that they already showed improvement. Whereas CLOUD9, of course, want to make sure they're finally going to put some points on the board, even if it's just 1. I don't even think they'll be happy with 1. I think they'll just want to go straight for 2 or 3.
I mean, they need 1.
They need
anything,
more than 1.
Honestly, anything less than 3 is still a bad day for them. But at least 2 or 1 they can build behind. But if we are being entirely unjudgmental based on these 2 teams' previous performance on this map against each other especially, it should be C9's day. There's no 2 ways about that. Statistically, it should be C9's day, usually. C9 haven't been playing well recently inside this league. We cannot say that enough. FAV Gaming have been playing very well inside this league. That's also something we haven't explicitly said, but they're technically top of the board. They're undefeated at the minute, 2 opening wins.
Oh, with the full points as well.
That's it.
Whereas Cyclops had 1 overtime win, and this is currently in range of being overtook. Shin, the first one to enter with that knock, will surely be followed up. Quick admin pressure coming down from FAV. Seeing one of the E1Ds being popped as well as sort of an assist, making sure that no one would be moving in that case. And for now, just droning, gaining information, trying to figure out where these players will be before, of course, pushing yourself up to a point where there is no return, or to a point where you will be pressured or potentially damaged.
Now they're going with this Nook, which isn't the most commonly seen operator. It can give you a lot of quick strike, but at the minute the way they're sort of utilizing her is within the push itself. They've stacked her around stuff that's already being audible, that's already making a lot of noise. Maybe they expected a different site. You don't really always throw yourself into lobby as the opener, and you know, it's one of the most sort of coalesced pushes is lobby. You generally are going towards the same point on the map at all times. You're not really playing anything off.
Nice shot.
By Afro, static, hopped up, is able to take care of 1 over Visa.
Look, we do know, however, that the entry kills for CLOUD9 do not always mean that they will be successful. As Shal here takes a lot of damage type on himself as well. So far, the trades seem to be going in favor of CLOUD9. And as the new E1D goes off, it will be the refract from Shin to come in. The smoke will be taken care of. Number 2 in the meantime will take care of Shal as well. We're back on a 3-on-3. The top floor is secured. 60 seconds left on that clock. There is now time to start working on a bit of vertical, even though there is basically nothing left. So they will have to work with the hatch. It's the only source of verticality that they might have, and start dropping and start descending these stairs soon, because they will be in need of. We'll be taking care of the default cam before the Twitch drone gets shot out, but it's not the most important part of the utility that you need to get rid of.
Generally just Nova inside the site. Everybody else has sort of pulled themselves away. They're going to restack themselves. Static went for a bit of a loop around the backside. MB Taylor's hanging around on the Visa split side too. Potentially going to see if they can swing around the back of the Spiral, but just do that. Hop out with the double. He was lurking and he was hanging around. I didn't know that door was open, but I suppose neither did FAV. Oh, they just forgot about it. They did lose the opener around that side, and they moved in. Great take to swing round, but there's 2 more. And CLOUD9 open themselves up.
They open up indeed, and they manage to get around, and with that they have equaled at least the performance over the last 2 games they managed to put down. God, that's a good start.
When you put it like that, it's not great, but they've been able to get a round. They've been able to double their total rounds over the past 2 games.
Which is a good start.
Which is a good start.
Now they just need to grab on from here.
It's the fact that we're saying it's a good start. It's been 1 round, and that...
It was a pretty decisive round as well. It wasn't Cloud9 struggling and blowing out a clutch situation.
Yeah.
That was the previous time they won a round in stage 2. So stage 2 actually. So good start here. And let's see if they can continue to be this dominant, or if FAV is going to be able to strike back quickly now and fight for that top spot, as they are still in contention for it.
Mirror to Jaeger is the 6th pick. And they're up against the lineup, obviously. There wasn't any grenades. I think there was a 6th pick on the side of FAV Gaming as well, but there wasn't any grenades before that. There wasn't any grenades after. So, I'm just trying to piece together whether they were trying to bait a potential different site and sort of say, we're going to be underneath on the ground, and hope that it led them into a more, thermite-driven lineup, and then gone to the top, and that's the reason you'd swap out the mirror in that scenario, because sure, you can have those ADSs to hold on the top of yellow, but as I said, there's no grenades, so that's not what they're trying to bait out. So I think they were trying to bait the movement of the site more than anything with that 6th pick.
They might have been indeed, yes. Even though, of course, if grenades would be 6th picked in. Often trying to make some team feel a bit safe about the lack of operators, lack of utility. Try and 6th pick it in. Didn't surprise them either. As we speak, there is just, again, an admin take in progress. Number 2, trying to get some information. Harper, I believe, got spotted out here standing. Knows one is up on a rappel, however, and will surely be trying to go for that gunfight, and will win that gunfight. Shin will drop as he just rappels in. No information, apparently. Pretty sure that the Twitch drone had spotted him out as he was just standing there in the middle of the cubicles. Well, spots the feet now. Now he knows where he is, but damage already been done.
And they've got no grenades, and I think that's a big loss on this map especially. And sure, they didn't know that they were stacking in. They have a lot of utility to try and catch those play, but you think of how standard holds in these corners of admin are, and how you know you're going to be on these windows. It puts you in these tricky firefights, where otherwise that would just be a well-played grenade. The pressure has to come instead internally, as they're trying to force their way through with stuns and with the movement. They have the cover on Printer. They obviously had the cover on the windows of admin itself, and it's just sort of had this blow-for-blow effect, where Harper's gone. At this point, they've been able to shepherd people out of admin. There's still loose Cloud9 body players on the rest of the map, though, all the way down to the basement, I think. We've still got C9 at the minute. They have the options to rotate back round, and they're still playing with these Echo drones. And it's just a lot of time wasted that otherwise it might have been alleviated with that extra bit of utility.
MV Taylor indeed chilling below, of course has the impact, so might be willing to go for a bit of a run out as soon as they would be rappelling up onto the office window, the CEO office that is. Not seeming to be the case here, as FAV is sticking to their push and sticking to be going from the actual admin side. Cost them a little bit of time, not that much utility to work with. Again, only the exothermic now, and well, Sophia this time has a bit of soft breach available to them, but not really going to be in a position where you can use that. It's number 2, scouting from below, hoping to pick up a roamer, hoping to pick up one of the players that is roaming on the bottom floor. Not going to be checking that too exactly though, and as he now will ascend the spiral stairs, surely will be in a better position to try and help FAV.
That's it. They're setting themselves up this steady idea of a cross-hold. They want to try and pop pressure onto admin. They can kind of force some control of long desk now, and as they swing around, it's actually Nova that opens it up. Typon gets stuck, and Kate Razor with the diffuser needs to try and find a way to dig in, has to take a little bit of punishment, so instead goes via long desk, but the cover from Shile is there, and they had no way through and no time to try to find an alternate.
Yeah, definitely so. They lost a couple of members when they were trying to take their office approach, the administration office that is, at the start, and then decided to stick with it. And at some point, there's just a point of no return. At some point, there is no opportunity anymore to rotate out and start working on control in a different area, such as the yellow stairs and, you know, just the windows in general of the main bomb site. And that leaves us with Cloud9 now on 2 rounds, able to get a very good start out here. And 2 rounds here where they are very dominant as well in their approach and in their playstyle. this is starting to look more like the Cloud9 that we're used to see, that we used to cast, you know, stage 1, where they would absolutely dominate their opponents. But you cannot help but question, like, is FAV going to strike back? Will Cloud9 keep this up? Because they've only won 1 round so far in the previous 2 games, and well, they've managed to put 2 on top of that now. And you just hope that they will be back and they will be fighting Cyclops for the remainder of the stage for that top spot.
Okay. 2 rounds through, and Cloud9 have seemed in possessive control of both of them. And I think that's the big thing to take away here, is FAV are sort of struggling to bring their attacks together. It's a little bit of a mismatch in terms of where they're trying to put the pressure. It's a little bit of a mismatch in terms of how they're trying to find their way through. There's been a bit of a, I guess, slow and surprise start to a lot of their takes. They've lost the entry engagement against what are pretty aggressive holds and positions. They haven't quite found themselves firing towards the hold that Cloud9 are putting forward here.
Yeah.
Cloud9, when they're a bit revitalized, it's a dangerous C9 to go up against them, Consuelo.
It is definitely. C9 used to be very good at this map, and that was also what they said at the desk. Surely they win now, because this is the map that they have been dominating on in APAC North, especially dominating FAV on, who weren't able to win more than 2 rounds the last time they got here. I believe this time FAV picked the map, however, so you would assume that they have something up their sleeves to use to try and surprise Cloud9, to try and outplay Cloud9. So far, the attack's not quite showing that yet, as we find ourselves on our 3rd site now in the basement.
Well, Afro's seeing if they can apply some pressure on the bodies that are locked towards the top of yellow. Obviously, they've set themselves up to catch a wide rotate and see if they can pull Envy Taylor out of position, but he is the hatch to drop if he needs on. There's the drop of the camera. There'll be the feed of the intel to where he's at. They're probably going to try and spray through yellow window, but they're also concerned about the aggression that's otherwise been put forward. There's the catch of the E1D. At that point, out of there, no need to stick around. Let them burn utility on an empty corner and try and find a fresh place to hold on. Shayal put some pressure from the bottom of that stair set, but has otherwise now pulled his way away and reset himself up somewhere else. And, you know, again, we're looking at this pretty slow and steady utility clear here. They're trying to find their way into the Cloud9 players who are pretty expertly wasting their time on all the stories. Envy Taylor suffers through a door, but they don't have that lockdown on them yet.
They definitely don't, and he's allowed to continue running around here and sticks in with about 40 HP, but as long as he's alive, we will be putting down some extra pressure. And of course he doesn't have a nitro to throw up to try and deny a plant, but as long as he's here, he still has an impact to try and deny his spots and to try and put up an extra angle to contest whatever is being brought, and of course has the opportunity of running out as well. They have it, takes the shot onto Afro, and now knows people are inside Piano, knows that needs to be held. Shin is going to be able to pick up that kill. They trade it out, 4 on 4. With 35 seconds left on that clock, they need to make sure that, well, they start hitting the site now.
Well, they hope to catch somebody swinging up Spiral, but nobody is home at this point when you've still got a lot of your hold back here. We're looking at 3 smoke canisters, we're looking at both Echo drones, and we're looking at FAV having to see if they can slam the diffuser in for this. The first one pops off, the first one buys them some time, they're going deep to try and cover it. There's the second, 10 seconds, they have one more, they're probably going to throw that too. The Yokai pops off because why wait, it's dug in on the corner, just has to hold it. They drop the man, in the meantime spray into the smoke, and it's a timeout again, as we find them just entirely stumped again by this utility player, the last flank.
You said time and I instantly grabbed my bottle. I'm like, oh.
I stood
but no.
I quickly dropped down.
Cloud9 indeed able to hold on there, and FAV got a little bit closer now. They managed to get the trace, they managed to get the kills and the top floor control, but it was all a little bit too late, you could almost say. And then it was still the utility, the 3 smoke canisters that were being tossed in quickly, as we are actually going to go for a timeout. You called it perfectly.
I called it.
You called it perfectly.
How did I know?
I don't know. Are you, like, is Siri, is that the right?
You know how, like,
look into the future.
We see things a little bit earlier than the stream does?
Yeah. But
my screen is faster than your screen. Like, you have, like, however many minutes, and I have, like, an extra 20 seconds on you. No.
I can see that, yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense to have a timeout now, because it's 3 rounds in a row where it's not just 3 rounds that have gone poorly on your attack. And we talked about this before when another team did this, is the momentum and the pace is entirely out of their hands. They have no control, and what they're struggling with to a sort of heavy degree is that because when they're getting to the end, there's still a lot of utility left that they have to try and get through, and they seemingly don't have the energy or the pace to just break through it.
That's it, right? And in the first 2 rounds, they didn't even get to having to clear the utility. In this third round, I believe, they managed to actually break through. They managed to get onto the side. They managed to get the kills. But then there was 3 smoke canisters and 2 yokai drones that were there to try and slow you down, to try and make sure that you were never going to be able to get that plan down. And as they indeed got the down, the injure onto the thermite, I believe it was, that was planting, at least I would assume so, they, of course, won the round as a result. And with that, it is Cloud9 still in the lead after, well, 2 very convincing rounds. One that was won on the back of the utility that was still available due to the fact that FAV was a bit too slow.
Okay, we've now lost the Lion. They've realized they haven't quite had the effect because they weren't really in positions to push behind as E1D. Swapped over to a Hibana. That will give you a little bit more of a direct line that will allow you to open up more, but it also allows you to burn through when they, obviously we've seen them double up the ADSs and the My Discs before, so it gives you that sort of feasibility, that structure.
Those flashbangs for it.
Yeah, you can sort of get through those with a lot. Hard destruction isn't always the biggest be-all and end-all on this map, but it can be if what you're struggling with is rooting them out of positions. They were getting quite blinkered by what C9 were doing away from the site.
I also remember the day that you, back then, you know, back in the good old days, you could use the Excaliburs to flush out the ADSs. No, it doesn't happen anymore. But we do see them used for the laser gates, though.
Yeah, that's it. And you can use them as just a general, like, good burn through utility, because you'll also have them occasionally opened as, like, softs above. If you're pushing down towards the basement site, you'll have them on the mirror windows. It gives you that width now, being able to swap between them. It was a very good change for Hibana. It just gave her a little bit more stretch rather than limitations on... Like, it meant you didn't feel so bad wasting some of them.
A lot of the players said that Hibana would become a 100% pick rate as a result, but that is not really...
A lot of people have said have been wrong a lot of the time.
That is true. So, yeah, moral of the story.
Moral of the story,
Not everybody's always right.
Anybody. This is a pretty standard hold that you see quite a lot in terms of having that mirror, having that extension across the top here of admin. You will have as much stacked up behind this as possible. You'll have some cover of the sort of printer. Afro enters with the Ying on the far side, and they're going to use that again as a little bit more decisive. I sort of saw it on the lineup and didn't expect that to be the front of their push, but they are using it to get this big blanket cover and have themselves as that physical barrier. So a great way to solve the problem of we can't quite catch them is, okay, well, let's put someone in an entire blind spot, in a literal blind spot, in that you cannot see when you're in there, and have that be the dig through. And to be fair, it's worked very well so far.
So far, it has indeed. I was just confused why he was watching his back because he was throwing at these Candelas and not following it up with it.
Yeah.
Somehow still managed to get the kill, so that's a good start. Harper, however, will be able to find Shin, as now Afro is going to be able to put his second onto the board. Takes care of that default cam as well. Still has the LMG in hand. And now we'll go back to the top floor to see whether or not still someone is around there. Of course, not the case. As the FAV is being very slow, very methodical about clearing out that top floor. And is that Frostmat?
That was a Frostmat. That's a C4.
Oh, no way!
Oh!
I was like, is that a Frostmat? Yes, and this is Nitro as well.
Oh, it was a Frostmat, and you said it. There was a pause, and I heard the C4 rip, and Afro is still ripping through them, gets a triple, but we'll have to get the ace to clutch this round out. And I guess my apologies to Ying if that happens. I didn't talk too much about you because I didn't think you would be this big a factor as possibly you can be based on how FAV have played before. But so far, utilizing you in this position where you can sort of get in and cause problems has been a big play. Recollects the diffuser. 15 seconds, knows that the last 2 bodies are very likely to be under the site itself, so is going to have to try and dig in under the site itself to go for the fight. They're all the way on the far back side. Gets the quad to make sure the last is stuck in on Harry Potter. They're pre-firing every angle possible. They're not quite there, and well, they're just going to see if they can stick it inside the smoke. It pops up though. Nova has an easy cleanup, but credit to a Ying that almost pulled it back round.
I have to say, it was very creative putting up that smoke right in there. He's like, that's the only opportunity I might have. And of course, he's like, I block off a line of sight with it. It would have been a good spot to plant for it. Just unfortunately, that was decided to spray right through. You might have actually seen him right before he peeked in because it was not an instant detonation, of course. And as a result, Cloud9 now has 4 rounds. And FAV still has 0. And almost came back to Afro, able to pick up 4 kills, a quad kill with the Ying. Only one really coming into effect due to a Candela blinding. Of course, the Frost, who came in big later with that Frost mat as the repelled in from Copy. Of course, followed up with a beautiful Nitro Cell, able to go for that double kill as they went for the pickup. Of course, it was only going to be for a confirm. I don't think they had a clue that there was a second person already on top of him. But that is what they got nonetheless. Beautifully tossed up, and now Cloud9 leading 4-0. And this is starting to look more like the Cloud9 we have seen before. It is actually looking exactly like the Cloud9 we know and hope to see at the start of Stage 2 and hope to see during the 6th Invitational.
A little bit more of the juggling of the operators. Thatcher's on the board. It was, again, the 6th picks. They pulled away from the Ying, and, you know, I thought it was this good chance of capitalization, and it came through. They're sticking on the Hibana, and I talked about that a little bit before, and it gives you that bit of a stretch. K-Razor is the forever Thermite main, and, you know, I guess at this point you're sort of looking at that as the possibility to maybe change instead of going in with the double hard destruction, see if you can swap that around a little bit. They had a Jackal for a second, changed it over to the Thatcher.
It's going to be a Jim Pam.
Yeah, MV Taylor is looking to try and punish them very quickly.
He's just spawn peeking for now, but
just spawn peeking.
This information is super valuable because he now knows that there is someone repelled up. They know they are going for the drone. There's also a man down on... Okay, now K-Razor is holding it, I was about to say. But look at it, he's wiggling about. He's definitely thinking about it. MV Taylor's just covering off every single angle he can find, hoping he can find one, and his grenades are being tossed in. He could be going any second now.
Well, the grenades are the thing that I talked about last time, how it can make taking out those bodies so much quicker and easier. Both have been used, though, and neither's actually been able to catch that body on the far side. It might force them further out. They haven't lost, and they have actually driven that body away from admin. They've been able to clear the space, and that's the added danger I was talking about before. And that was where FAV weren't quite connecting earlier on, was with that sort of disjointed utility use.
MV Taylor went from the top floor all the way to the basement now, trying to set himself up for a big flank later in the round. They know that the push is coming heavily from the Visa side and from the admin office, and they also know that that means that at some point you will be able to walk up either spiral stairs or Visa stairs to try and make an impact happen. He's still tossing up all of these, my discs, just to make sure that every projectile will be caught. And of course we do see that nice yokai as well, just jumping up the hatch, just sticking up to the ceiling, making it very hard to clear out.
Number 2 is opening up their angles, their potential chance of rotation, and to catch anybody that might come on the bottom of the admin stairs and the Visa stairs. They're seeing if they can, I guess, clear themselves this little modicum of space. There's a mute jammer, there's a width on the angle too with these pellets, and they're looking to see if they can get the stretch towards that projector, that default plant spot here. The drop of the Gemini instantly gets the drop. You knew a body was going to be playing in that situation anyway, and you generally know it's going to be pretty tightly protected. You've got to see if you can clear yourself that little bastion of space that you had last time when you circled around the back of Spiral.
Know where Harper is, however, no one is really in a position where you can take him out, and they might be wanting to go for a bit of a vertical hole, but for that they don't really have to control. And as the EMP now comes out, surely they'll be opening up, and Nitrocell will be tossed. Unfortunately, no effect. Harper did see someone move in, though. We'll get the swing with the shotgun onto number 2 somehow, and that is going to be a very important kill.
Yeah, that was such a big take. You've still got Suicide being watched from 2 stories underneath. The canisters pop off and force K-Razor into another tricky situation. They're opening up the backside with Hibana, and that doesn't make it massively clean, but it forces Static into a trickier situation. But he still has a shotgun, and he's going to try and dance around the corner. Does enough to slow them, but not enough to stop them. K-Razor is going to stick it. That is it. They've got to see if they can pull their way back around. Harper just has to swing right. They're double stacked, and that's a Cloud9 take again.
I was going to say the Yokais are still up. I saw someone on that Yokai, but there is, of course, no Echo alive. But as you said, Cloud9 able to win the round. FAV went for a very, very last second execute there. Basically gives you no room for error. And as soon as they started coming up from the back stairs, they were able to get that final kill as the timer was already on 0, blanked out. Now Cloud9, 5 rounds in a row. Suddenly, this is starting to look like, oh, well, like they've never been gone.
All right, for all the kudos that we give C9,
yes,
I think we have to talk about what's lacking from FAV's deck.
We also have to talk about that.
Because nothing is sticking, and
They're just not able to clear out the key positions. That is the big issue. Like, for example, the player in admin office, you throw through 2 grenades. You're not able to hit any of them. There's also no angles covering it all. You could just start shooting at the cubicles. It's very easy to get rid of. Suddenly gives him a lot less visual cover that he can use, that he can play around. Like, the same goes for like just sending in your Gemini. There's nothing to respond to it. Have someone repelled upside down in the meantime, so you can try and refrag the Gemini replicator. Like, there's many different ways that you can try and get these kills. But
yeah, it's just like that. It's that old nightmare with FAV where they just struggle in their attacks, and those little plays, those little moments that you should really be able to apply with a little bit more pressure. They're playing with a bit of caution. They're playing quite scared, I think, and they're still changing their operator lineups. I think after the first 2 rounds, they've generally had a different lineup every single round, and that they're trying to see what else can stick. Typon goes instantly. They've lost that Hibana. Hey, at least they still have a second Hard Destruction, but at the same time, that hasn't really aided or abetted them. That hasn't really played against them. They've still got to try and get piano control to get rid of those Kaid claws. They haven't brought any frags to potentially roll underneath. Again, they're playing without frags on this map. Again, they're playing with a double Hard Destruction. And it feels like they're just trying to throw stuff at the wall and sees what sticks at this point.
Now, I don't want to blame or say I know the reason why FAV's not winning right now, but after the last 2 weeks, Desertu predicted against them, and I told him, like, hey, it might be you, because they're winning now, and he said, like, watch me predict FAV next week, and they're going to get absolutely rolled over by Cloud9. Guess who he predicted? I think he predicted FAV. So I think I predicted FAV as well.
I originally wrote Cloud9 and changed it to FAV.
Same, actually.
Because I didn't want to be different from everyone else. And with how Cloud9 are playing, they're here to sort of prove us all idiots. There's another take. A Jackal lost, sniffing feet on the top floor. Shin at least gets Emmy Taylor back, but quickly gets traded out by Shael. Number 2 is all that is left. There is still the entirety of the site to get through. They're knocking doors and windows. C9 are like, come on, we want to get to the other half now. We're waiting. There's a body that's about to come down from Spiral. There it is. Shael is able to lock it off, and it's a 6-0 half. And I think there's 2 sides to FAV right now. It's one of them is, this isn't going so great, but also, okay, I'm kind of glad we're not attacking anymore, because it hasn't been good.
I think that last round, though, is really key, really showing of Cloud9 regaining their confidence. You see the run out, you see Shael just running up the stairs again. These are the things that we started losing from them, because you could almost say they were afraid to play after 6 Invitational. They were struggling, and right now they're regaining some of that confidence. They're playing freely again. They're hitting their shots and just moving up the stairs if they see like it's fit. And now Cloud9, 6 rounds in a row after only being able to pick up 1 over the last 2 days. See if they can make this a 7-0 sweep. And they're going to be the team of the extremes. Either we do get 7-1 or 7-0, or we will be the one giving the 7-0. FAV on the defense now, however, that is a favored side for many of the teams. Of course, after you just got 6-0, the pressure will be on, and you'll have to try and make sure that you're going to stay in your rhythm, or, well, actually start building up a rhythm, because the current rhythm they're in is not really helpful if you want to start winning any of these rounds. He's there on Consulate. I'm really starting to wonder, is this something they just forgot about? Or was this something they were really wanting to go to after they had 2 maps left? Because you lost to Cloud9 7-2 before. Would this be like underestimating them in some case, where you're like, well, they're not having the best of days, we can bring them back to where they know they are? Or is it
I don't think it's
different?
Underestimating, because FAV on their attacks seemed cautious, and I think that's not built from an underestimating play. That's, you know, an underestimating play is you're repeatedly sort of caught unaware, and I wouldn't say that's what Cloud9 were explicitly doing. Cloud9 would sort of, they were playing their game, sure, but they just kind of found themselves pressuring against FAV's attack and sort of being in the situation of, is this it? and
Yeah.
it was very late on the door. Here's where we'll get a taste of how C9 might be able to stack up. They're very quick in getting the clear here. That's the wall instantly popped open. Thatcher's on the board. They've got the E1Ds. Nova just moves in but gets dropped from a quick take, but then Yellow Stairs was quickly retaken itself. It's a 3 versus 3, 2 dead bodies by the back of the white van and 2 kills on the other side. That's an important kill. That gives them antechamber back, but Envy Taylor's just going to try and stick it in the meantime. With Shael offering the only cover and support, they don't have piano. We can hear a C4 pop. It's a post plant, and now it is only Shael left, who's able to just sneak out around the corner in the shadow of that swing. He almost got the double, but doesn't quite make it. C9 wanted to end this quickly, and FAV are able to pull a round.
We're able to pull her out for now, indeed, and C9 tried to go very quickly here. Almost managed to pull it off. Just the one player on the yellow stairs that was there was able to stop it from becoming a 7-0, you can almost tell. And this is actually something I only just I knew Thatcher was open, but I only now realized Thatcher was open. You know what I mean?
He was brought once by FAV.
Yeah,
and
see how effective CLOUD9 was with it?
That's the main thing, and that's what I was saying with all the operator juggling that FAV was doing. Nothing sticking. It wasn't great.
Literally, yeah.
In one round, we've seen a demonstration of an attack that had a plan and plot. And sure, you can, it wasn't successful. They were able to get the diffuser down at that point and try and get the plant off. They were looking for this sort of big fight situation. The push from Shael on the yellow stairs was, half a second later than it could have been. They instantly got the Kaid, but then the trade had come out elsewhere. But from that point onwards, because there wasn't the instant cover from the admin side, or from the piano side, Shael was sort of, even if he'd gone into that first engagement and lost, it was sort of that trade, as you can't look both ways at once.
Yeah. I just want to say there was also absolutely not a single attempt from FAV on trying to keep that wall closed. What they did is just they tossed out both the electric claws and like, that's it. We did our job. Let's see if it works. And then the double EMP comes out and like, oh wait, that's the thing as well, right? We actually need to juggle along with it. He also had a mute. Actually, a so successful mute trick, mute juggle the other day. That was it's a long time since I've seen that.
The olden days of mute juggle.
The olden days of mute juggle. It's when the EMP goes out and you're quickly putting down a new mute jumper before the exothermic gets or other heart breach gets deployed. It's often done when there's also electricity involved.
Okay, C9, you went with something very pacey here, and well, you're on the split site this time, so you're going for this sort of tiered push. You can't quite entirely throw yourself in, but look at this quick pressure that they're putting on the windows.
Yeah.
The pace that they're trying to apply themselves to the map itself to see if they can get some early punishments, dropping cams, getting themselves that reconnaissance. They know how close they are to pulling that precious 3 points, which would, I believe, take them off the bottom of the board, with T1 taking a loss earlier today, and it draws them just underneath Guts as well in terms of points, but obviously they've still got a bit of a round difference to make up if they take this. It's not over yet, but you're still looking at this pace that C9 are applying. They've been able to get themselves in. They're putting pressure on Visa. They're putting pressure down underneath as well. The Buck can cause some nightmares here. Typon is in the first fight, though, on Harry Potter.
And a mirror window will be very key. It's something they need to take care of. And Nova is coming around the corner as well. They're just deciding to just run at him here. Typon is allowed to get 2 free kills. And as a drone is spotting him out, nothing is really happening. As number 2 will be able to pick up another kill as well. Afro will follow that one up. And it's only up to Static, the one man standing on Cloud9. This seems to be a lost round. It seems to be going FAV's way. But there's always a way back in. And this time, that is on that clock, that 1 minute 20. And everybody being on that top floor, there is definitely an opportunity of trying to get a plant out. But you first need to kill Typon, who's playing on that mirror window.
He's playing it backwards now.
He's playing it back behind it, indeed. Drone will not have any information. Nitros are coming out because the Pulse just spotted him, so they're trying to get all the vertical control that they can possibly get. You see the shadow. You need to make sure that you're going to be able to go for the peak, but he does not. And Typon gets that final kill. We'll be looking at that round for FAV as well. Suddenly it's 2 in a row, and here had the idea of just rushing the mirror window, which clearly did not work out. It's not a smart idea generally.
I mean, they went on that push against the mirror window with 2 trusts and 2 faiths, and one of them was, our stuns have got that mirror, and the other one is, well, they can't kill all of us. And
that's what I say to a shotgun, not to a 416 carbine.
And it's just like that sort of fight is, you're not you're just funneling yourself. You're just charging down what is a space and an air with no cover. It's very tough to get a shoulder cover on that as well. Like, it's a very narrow firefight. You're not handing him a 2 versus 1. You're handing him 2 1 versus 1s, and you're in a line as well. So the likelihood for collateral deaths is so much higher. It was a risk, but so was the risk in the first round. And at this point, I think if you're sitting there and you're a Cloud9 fan and you're on 6-0, you're like this. Stop taking these risks, Cloud9. Finish up this map. Because if this keeps happening and FAV build this momentum, because sure, they didn't have great attacks, but they are a good defending team.
Yeah.
You cannot let what is your best chance so far to secure some points slip through your fingers.
Well, at least you got one. You're just trying to make it plural now. And one with 2 S's and one with a single S, if you want to put it up like that.
Yeah. Well, you said at the beginning, you said 1 point would be good for them to get, and then they went 6-0 up.
Yeah, and now
and
you're like,
this
you
point,
kind of have to get the 3
1 point would
point.
be devastating to get.
Yes, if you're only going to walk away with 1 point after being 6-0 up, being so dominating, and then making these little mistakes, especially on that second attack. Of course, still very early to tell, but we've seen crazier comebacks happen. It's very more crazy than a 6-0's hard, but...
Well, here's the quick pressure to the top of yellow. There's a frag grenade that forces the man out and probably destroys the ADSs that had been maybe placed around there.
Did he just jump out?
The jump out comes through. That's a great take from Afro back on the cover. Harper's able to get the hop out, and Afro's looking to see if he can get a little bit of follow-up revenge on that body. They put Harper to half, but otherwise couldn't quite confirm the kill there.
Again, Cloud9 looking to make a play. Simu Gemmer blocking out some of these drones, and as Afro is just on the bottom floor clearing them out roll now. Just putting quickly up one of these nitros to allow himself to fall back towards the basement, and Envy Taylor will probably be aware of this as well. Opens up the window and always starting to work and put some pressure down. But Shin, again, great kill. Static will drop, and suddenly there's a man advantage here for FAV. That is very workable. There's a lot of pressure coming down towards these 2 windows that Nova's currently repelled up to as well. And if Nova drops, that's suddenly the diffuser called outside.
Spraying the standard corners, but Nova is able to drift past and take out K-Razor as they're still sort of trying to find the structure, but that is obviously one of those sort of plays of, well, now we're missing the Echo. And that late round operator, that late round utility that's gone, you only really have that. Well, I think there was... I'm not sure if number 2's was pre-placed or not, or if it's already been popped. I didn't hear 2, but I've definitely heard at least 1, so maybe it is gone. Maybe it was just something that slipped by earlier on in the earlier engagements. Either way, it means if they try and actually force their way through now, that they've got a pretty good stead and a pretty good hold of being able to get through. Shin set himself up in a dangerous position. Number 2, if I'm going to talk about dangerous positions, he's eyeing something exceptionally dangerous. The swing comes through, the cover comes, Harper. Beautiful take, even less health. That's 2 jump outs that have fallen victim to Harper, and now Shin is dug in on the site with only the Mozzie on the other side of long desk to offer some cover.
He's in a very good spot now. There's 30 seconds left, which is still a lot of time. The opening will be made by the Xcaros as Harper is deciding to go for a bit of a rappel together with Envy Taylor. They want to get the diffuser in this way, but Shin peeks out, gets the kill, and now there's multiple holes that you will have to watch as soon as you start rappelling in, because there's also still the player that is inside theater. There you have it, Shin, triple kill, goes for the quad, will not be getting it. It's Afro with the final kill, but that is yet another round here for FAV, and still he is 6-3. No longer that 6-0 we were talking about before, and even though Cloud9 had a pretty okay plan here, they will be calling a tactical timeout, which is quite logical after you just lost 3 rounds in a row in your attack. Whereas, okay, 2 of them were a bit quicker in the approach, but this one should have stuck.
I mean, it's not reassuring, I think is the best way of putting it, because of everything else that's sort of in the air with this, that elephant in the room of you're against FAV, who are undefeated this split so far, and that's a team that you've beaten handily before. You're C9, you haven't gotten anything so far, and you've secured yourself a point, which is good. But then you are starting to lose a 6-0 lead, which is bad. And a lot of that was these early 2 rounds, as I said, that were taking these sort of big risks, which, to be fair, you can take in this game. You can take big risk plays. In Consulate, you see it often happen more than not because of how quick it is from external to inside and actually going for the execute. But it was sort of needless, and it threw a lot of the pace into the air. And Cloud9 there, they're like, okay, we need to try and actually focus it down. But at that point, you've sort of fed a couple of rounds to FAV, and FAV are energized. FAV are looking in, and sure, it was scrappy, but it was bold. And it was something now where they've gone, okay, wait, we need to talk about this because we cannot lose that handle on that pace and let FAV start running the show.
Yeah, that is indeed what a tactical timeout should be solving now. We do see the Zero getting 6 picked out. The Thatcher will make its return, and we haven't really seen the full strategic range, let's call it, from Cloud9 on this site yet, because they just opened up the wall quickly. They tried to run inside, got shut down as they went, and, well, weren't able to stick the post plant 2v1 or 3v1, which is logical. We're going back there again. And this time there is an opportunity for them to take it a bit slow, or go quick again if you really feel like it. I don't think they'll be doing it, because there's an extra shield setup, as you saw right there on the box, near pillar, or near pipes, I must say, to make sure that there's an extra angle you can use to try and contest if they would be coming through the garage door quickly.
The Thatcher's on the board. It gives you that pace as well as you're talking about. It's the slight sort of cover in terms of that late utility. Type on playing the Vigil on the top floor is allowing them to, again, try and control the pace. It's a pretty common pick, especially on Consulate, where you have that sort of solo player with the chance of somebody rotating up to offer support, but it's as much time you can buy and as much time as you can burn on these top windows.
Type on is really thinking about going for a bit of a peek, but for now we'll have to hold off, and as we see, wall will be opened up. There is an EP coming out. I believe there is no electric cloud being tossed in, and that means the wall has been opened up. There is the opportunity to go for 2, and Nova will most likely put that one down very soon. There you have it, making sure that the entire garage wall will be opened up, and that also makes the opportunity of long arming quite dangerous for a defender if they would like to go for a counter disable. I believe that is Type on the yellow stairs here. You might be thinking about another jump out, because we have seen so many of them for FAV. Didn't really always work out, but in the end they almost managed to win the round. So C9 is just holding off on these windows here. They also know what needs to happen. They need to take control of Piano at some point, and they need to make sure that the plant can go down.
Well, the swing comes through, and Harper kills Shial, and I'm not entirely sure what's happened there, but I can only describe it as not good. Now they're going to try and see if they can build behind it, losing that Sophia, losing a lot of that pocket utility, and losing a huge player who's otherwise been a big force and your top killer on the team so far. It's just a peculiar and unfortunate way for this round to be open, and I guess it shows that worrying building frustration.
Well, the reason for it is, of course, that they thought one was still on top of these stairs, and both went in for the pre-fire. Unfortunately, got each other as a result, and now Harper, clearing out that top floor, has to do work worth for double. He was the one to kill his teammate. Now, there is still one in bathroom. Goes over to the skeleton key, continues to open up. There's not many drones left. 3 in total here for Cloud9 to try and execute onto the site. And whilst they want to do that, K-Razor still in top of that bathroom with a shotgun, with an English shotgun even. Willing to hold that down to, well, the end of his life.
They're eyeing the chance at clearing Piano, but because they don't have that bathroom control, they don't have that comfort, they're not 100% ready to throw themselves to the back. Yeah, number 2 has that shield, that bit of the extension there, and the wall either side. The smoke canister, the first one falls close and hits the pillar. I think the second, the spray comes around the back, and Static is the one that's able to win it out. Nova is going to stick in the meantime as number 2's being a little bit preoccupied in the swings that's coming through. It's stuck. No! The take in the final 5 seconds. Duck down and gets himself in a situation picked up by the man that already cleared them through, number 2.
Didn't check it in the right moment, but got it in the end right here, dropping that diffuser, which then had to be picked up again. And Cloud9 just trying to force themselves into the site. They're not clearing out the top floor. I said it before, you need to make sure that these positions are unplayable. And that shield, I think, could have been dealt with if you had control of that bathroom. You could have gotten an angle on that from that hatch. Of course, you're losing a member. It will be more difficult to take that bathroom control in that case, but you just got to be quick about it. Cloud9 is too slow, I dare to say, on this round. They didn't have the control they needed. They didn't have the control they could have had. That would have saved them the round, which would have simply been the bathroom hatch, which allowed you to look into the hallway into the shield that was being played by number 2. You could have shut down a man who just shut you down earlier on. And as a result, 6-4 is on the board. We are still on match point. There is still 2 opportunities here for Cloud9 to make up for it. Remember, they were 6-0 up at the start of the game, and it's slowly starting to slip away because FAV, their defenses prove to be too strong for Cloud9's capabilities right now.
I mean, it's a continuation of the things I was saying before, but you change the names of the teams. Cloud9, I think their struggles are slightly different compared to what FAV's struggles on attack were, but their attacks are still struggling. It's not that FAV is playing these outlandish entire defenses that are, you know, completely wiping the floor with Cloud9. It's that they're playing good defenses, as Cloud9 were, but the attacks of both FAV and C9 have just really not been connecting as well as they have been and as well as they could have been throughout this. And, you know, it's, as I said, I think it's different issues and it's different errors between the 2 teams, but there's no denying that that is the short part of the game today.
I think FAV had a bit of a lack of a good plan, of a working plan, whereas Cloud9 is currently just being too sloppy, you can almost say. Just forgetting to clear areas. The team kill also really doesn't help because that might have been the reason why they decided to call off any further vertical clear. Just going a bit too quick here and there, like, doesn't really seem to be working out for them now. And once they open up an angle into the garage, they will be starting to rotate around. They might be trying to hit it directly, horizontally. There's still that top floor control they need to deal with. Either 1, maybe even 2 players on FAV that will be hiding near admin, making sure that Visa will be unable to be entered. Here you have it, number 2 in that mirror window, and Afro in theater. The opportunity to shut down the lobby. With that, 2 very big parts of the map and very important parts of the map will be shut down by indirect vertical play. And they need to deal with that on Cloud9, and that's something they have been lacking with so far.
All right, Afro is spraying towards those CEO and console windows to see if there's anybody they can catch on the far side. The mirror window has been popped open. They're going to play this with a little bit of a reverse side now as they feel the pressure is otherwise coming from behind them, so it becomes a bit trickier and a bit tougher to hold that in because the rotation aspect there, when you're not having all that pressure from the admin side, is instead able to be swapped over, tries to get the single player that's up on the windows, but again they've been funneled into a slightly worse position. C9, this is good from them in terms of an opening so far, and that they've been able to use a bit of utility and push them away from the utility that was otherwise set up on the second story. FAV aren't trying to contest it, they've pulled themselves back. They're happy to sort of fall down to the defenses that they've still got prepped elsewhere. 2 more C4s and a pulse mean it's always going to be risky when you actually go for the site itself, and with 2 minutes burnt, it's also pretty good from FAV. But C9, it's just this final bit, the execute onto the site that has been costing them and disjointed so far. Can they try and finally, out of this game of these 2 teams, be the first to find any success on their attack?
Going horizontal here, Harper will be able to pick up the first kill. That opens up the side, but instantly gets traded out because there is still a man in Visa. Now 2 of them will be entering the archives below. Typon, however, holding them off yet once again. Picks up 1, tries to swap over for the second, but 20 seconds left on the clock, and Nova's just trying to find him with that diffuser. If they manage to pick up these kills, which they do, it's only up to number 2 and Afro above now to try and stop this plant.
Shael's using the mirror window and Harry Potter to make sure that they can't quite get the entrance that side of post plant. Yet again in a 2 versus 2. Oh, Afro! A hell of a take there as the spray comes around from Shael. Cannot quite capitalize and get a bit of revenge to put us into a 1 versus 1. They know exactly where he is. They've gone for the take either side, and FAV with a fantastic retake there on an attack that came together 6-5.
And suddenly the lead is gone. Suddenly, there's only 1 round in between them, and look at the smiles on their faces. Look at how much it means to them. Because they were 6-0 behind. They were on top of the league. They lost that spot for now, but they have the opportunity of drawing it up close to Cyclops, as they also had an overtime win. If they manage to win this round, then there is the opportunity of taking the win as well. And with that, grab those extra 2 points that you would have, well, possibly if you looked at the start of the second half, not a fault. They had the opportunity of getting.
You really wouldn't. And the thing, like, even 1 round, 2 rounds in on the second half, you would have been, okay.
It's just Cloud9 playing a bit quick.
It's still Cloud9 making mistakes. But then it sort of kept going. That was their best attacking round, I would say. Sure, it's the second time they've been able to get the diffuser down, and it's gone for this sort of, you know, retake situation as opposed to the very, very first round on their attacks. But I think the way that they were structuring themselves, as I said, they're clear around the top of FAV. FAV, they had to start playing back. They had to keep their defense. It's some of the only times I think we've really seen the defense tested across both times this game. And it was good that FAV were able to battle back. Sure, it was built on a hell of a take from Afro towards
Hell of a shot.
It was unbelievable. And then from then on, you know, to split off and find themselves in the 2 versus 1 from either side and sort of corner that player and corral them into an uncomfortable situation, they almost got the body. And if they'd got that body on the take round, it could have been a very different story. But that was a round. And that was a round where both attackers and defenders finally have shown up.
Have finally indeed. And now Afro, the man who just hit such a shot, such a beautiful shot, is on the roam now, on that top floor, just near admin, hoping to take down as many drones as he possibly can, whereas the Twitch drone, the first one, just got picked up. Of course, his idea was to try and take down a mute jammer, maybe even an ADS or two, to make sure that a potential grenade, which are on the board for Cloud9, could be landing right underneath the Jaeger's feet. Not be happening now, potentially, or at least a lot more utility needs to be used. And, well, that one is also stuck now. That is going to be dangerous to pick up. And Envy Taylor might be thinking, all right, you know what, forget about that drone.
Yeah, it puts you in a bit of a risky situation.
Did he just not check the corner on the spiral stairs?
Well, if they haven't, that could be something that comes back to punish them a little later. Now, though, they're still trying to, I guess, get themselves set up. They want to maybe strike on some of the clear space, force some clarity into their own hands. You have Afro underneath with a C4 that if that goes untested, this could be a very big blow, as Nova's been able to slip through. They're still waiting. There it is. There it blows, but it doesn't quite hit them, and that's going to give the idea that they're underneath. And as Harper opens up that long angle, it doubles down. Envy Taylor is the one that goes to look to apply pressure, also to make sure they can't get the run out.
Surely indeed. No one, you don't want to get that run out on top of you. Also, this might be exactly what Afro wants. He is that roamer. He wants to be hunted. He wants to waste time and letting himself be known. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't pick up a kill, of course, with the Nitro, but at least he'll be taking the pressure off of at least one of the operators that will be chasing him down. As Cloud9 continue their attack, this is their final approach to go for the full 3 points. They fail to get them here. Suddenly we find ourselves in overtime, and they're not even guaranteed a win. And as Typo now drops down after his position is made unplayable by all the Excaliburs that go off, it's looking very good for Cloud9 in terms of the control that they have.
FAV rotating off in good time. I think they realized that their time was sort of through there, and they're sort of lucky that there wasn't anybody able to pick up that. You'd often see somebody ready towards that lobby door to make sure if that rotate came off that they could punish it. But C9, now they're droning out that sort of space. Now they're trying to apply the pressure with Envy Taylor on the back, the very long corridor that cuts underneath the spiral stairs.
Number 2 is below, I believe. I think he just dug himself inside of the lobby. Has the opportunity of going with the Nitrous Cell as Nova now with this being spotted out by the Yokai.
He's trying to get the plant off. The second Yokai is about to come around the corner and cause some problems as it's ready to pop off. There it is. You saw him. Shin shot a little too late. A bit of a misplay and miscommunication, but they're able to at least keep the body advantage. However, a post-plant situation. They're outside. They have that window control. They have some of those very tricky angles to battle your way back in, and now it's your turn to try and restructure. Nova has just demonstrated why those angles are so tough. Shyal emphasizes the point there with another bit of a cover. There's Shin looking for the wider. Great take, but you've only got about 20 seconds left, and you've still got 2 players left. One's on suicide, one's on the antechamber repel. Slipped past and is now going to try and take it on the pressure, but there's the hop in, there's the cover. They're looking for the last one on the connector. They're spraying towards it. We're going to OT!
No way did they bring that back. No way did they manage to take control of the match again. And now it is FAV on OT, on the fence. Not a single attacking round was won so far. All 12 have been on the defense. And even though that they almost messed it up, you could say, because he saw the man planting, he did not take the shot. That could have gone C9's way. But again, beautiful flicks coming out. And we find ourselves in OT. And suddenly Cloud9, that was looking to pick up a full 3 points after being 6-0 in front, could be just as well losing it out here. They need to win an attacking round.
Somebody needs to win an attacking round.
FAV can win 2 defensive rounds and they will
FAV
win.
can get 2 defensive rounds and they can win. FAV need to treat their attacks like they're going for a retake. Because their retakes have been their best attacks this whole game. I mean, it's a 6-0 back to a 6-6. What else can you sort of ask for as the final game of the day? Okay, Cloud9. As we said, the pressure is on you right now. Not only because you are 6-0 up, but because primarily you've now got to try to win an attack if you want to have a semblance of success here. And to be fair, luckily, you're staying on attack because the last 2 were your best. You almost had it twice compared to some of the others that we've seen throughout this game so far. So you've just got to try and lock onto that. Don't sort of forget the first 6 rounds.
It's going to be so mentally destroying Cloud9 though. After you've been up 6-0, after having such a difficult start of the stage, and FAV now bringing it back to 6-6, setting themselves up for yet another defense. Is the mute jungle, the bandit that is going out as well. Just placed a little bit too late though, meaning that the exothermic is not going to be destroyed and gives Nova the opportunity of holding on to it for now. Has the opportunity of placing it again. No longer do the bandits destroy the mute jammers out there, so they can really go in tandem now.
There's a lot of an air of caution right now, as C9 are trying their way up just where FAV are. Taipun's getting some last-minute work done in the office, and Afro's underneath, with a bit of the cover inside Visa. There's otherwise a huge presence that's coming through on the western front as they start to swing in on the top floor, the top of the staircase, and now they're going to start to creep their way down yellow, opening themselves up some angles to above. They're looking to steadily take this piano control, but they don't want to be in a situation where they risk it with a bit of pace, because that was how they were punished very early on.
There you go. That is the opportunity of taking down the mute jammer. Harper, however, will drop down to make sure that they will get literally everything. But this is also the call that Taipon needs to start moving in, because now there will be no more top 4 control. That gives the opportunity for him to start rotating down. Maybe use that hatch to deny anybody playing the verticality. As the exothermics go off, the openings will be there, but the bandit shotgun will stay close and will try and potentially challenge the buck as he starts to open up. Frag grenades are being tossed out at the same time as well on Taipon. He's creeping slower and slower towards the actual objective, but he needs to make sure that he is actually on time.
Yeah, as Shael keeps that bottom of yellow covered around the corner there. They're pinging off all of their objectives as they're able to burn off that last bit of utility. Every player still standing as we enter this final minute, and they're going to try and creep their way around. And you can see FAV are toying with the idea of, well, how can we creep back? They want to put some pressure back in. K-Razor is in a bit of a tricky situation here as the man on the drop. They have the fight around the back of Zulu. It's a pistol that's leading their way through, and if they can strike now, they're looking for that body above. Sees him, sprays him, drops him, but suddenly it's all kicking off on the side itself. They're going with the MA70, trying to find the close swing on the outside door. Shael takes a heck of a knock, but is able to pull back as another trade goes out inside the site itself. It's a very tricky retake, but you have a 4 versus 2. You've got to take a bit of a big risk here as they're trying to eye the possibility of a jump out. It's a very wide hold. And that's it. There's the hold on it. There's the first claymore that pops off. They're going to try and stick the defuse. There's the eyes. There's the idea. There's the hop out. There's the cover.
Oh, no, he gets it. No, he gets it.
Gaming have done it twice in a row.
I didn't even notice they were going to go for the defuse. Or surely they're going to go for the full retake. And as they jump out, everybody they got, they forgot about the fact that there's a man in the corner pressing the counter disable button. And twice in a row, they managed to sneak it out, to manage to bring it home. And FAV, are they going to steal this game away from Cloud9? Are they going to take the kill or the round and the 2 points? And you see it on the top there. FAV back in second place now. And Cloud9 dead last. If they complete it. That is it. Do they complete it? Do they get the complete reverse sweep? And get 8 rounds in a row? 8 rounds in a row. They're on 7 now. Just a single more. And it's Cloud9 to go over to that defense. And they will be going to the basement as well. And surely FAV have learned from their mistakes. You see the Thatcher coming out. You see the Thermite. And they are going to be going for that push. They are going to be opening up that wall. And probably at the same time, number 2 is going to do what he does best. Sneak in from the back with that nuke. All under the cover of that E1D. Just like scanning everybody that is about to come in.
For all the different lineups that we've seen FAV Gaming play and all the different operators on their attacks, I think this is one of, I would say, the compositions that I think is more likely to lead them to success. I think they need some of that pace, though, and the pace and the confidence was what was missing from their attack half, especially when they're bringing operators like the Nook. We found her towards the back of the push. Talk of confidence, there's Envy Taylor with a very early spray trying to find anybody else, but now knows the pressure's coming from a bit of a split side. He's still dancing with the chance of death, and he's able to pull away. There's a lot of cover. There's a lot of support over on this side of the building. In fact, every single C9 player was currently stacked up within that half of it.
There's currently 2 people off-site. Gives an opportunity to FAV to go for the rush if they wanted to. Waiting for the EMP. There it comes. Will be just a little bit too late, but it doesn't matter because the wall will still open up. The second EMP will be tossed out as well, just to be sure. Making sure that an Electroclaw would not be able to hit it instantly. The smoke canister coming out, and that is very early on a piece of utility that is gone. We do see the Warden playing close. Will he be coming in clutch?
Yeah, I thought they might have popped that to try and allow the Warden to do something big at that point, but otherwise it's a much better approach. And the fact that FAV Gaming has been able to burn a piece of defensive utility before the final minute mark, something that massively scarpered them in their earlier attacks. And that's going to draw a lot of the attention here as they're trying to make sure that they keep an eye on what FAV is playing if FAV are going for something big and aggressive. Iana, in the meantime, has gone to the top as they're still steadying away with a lockdown here on the rest of the back. There's the E1D. There's the hope and the chance at some cover as the pings start to come off. You can see that they're trying to pay attention towards the top, but at the same time, you've got to have your eyes locked as static goes down around the back of pipes. It's Afro that gets the opener on Envy Taylor on the top floor. There it is. There's FAV able to strike right at the back, and that's going to force C9 to try and bring themselves back round the back of Spiral, the back of the white van. Number 2 locks off the keel around the back of pipes. FAV with another E1D. The smoke canister starts to pop. Type on goes down, but K-Raze is going to drive the diffuser in with a cover. Coming from Shin, there is Afro, there's Nova getting the cut, and now we're about to have another diffuser stuck.
Just not in time!
A second too late! Now in this post-plant situation, a 2 versus 2. A triple kill from Nova doing everything, goes for it, but the spray comes! FAV Gaming! 8 rounds in a row!
Oh, no way! Yet again, Cloud9 just too late. First they're too late with trying to take out the man counter defusing. Then they're a second too late with again the man counter defusing. And now the Nitro Cell comes in 0.1 too late. It was tossed, it exploded, but at the moment it exploded, the diffuser went down. And FAV are able to take the win. They're able to take the win. They're stealing it away here from Cloud9. 6-0 behind. To an 8-6 victory themselves. They will be taking the 2 points and dig themselves right behind, or actually on even ground, with Cyclops, who are also on, well, 1 overtime win and 2 full.
I mean, what a way to end a day and end a game. And I'm sure I saw some very expressive motions from our desk.
Yes.
I saw a lot of shaking of heads and a lot of standing up and gesticulating wildly. So I'm very excited to see. I think they've got a couple of thoughts about this.
I think they do.
Let's throw it over to the desk and see what they have to say.
I think there's only one way to start this.